Hello, very good evening. Welcome to the live stream, and thanks. At the start of things, I'll just say thanks to all the people who've subscribed in the last week, as well as thanks obviously to the people who've subscribed before to the channel, much appreciated. So here's tonight's planner campaign. We'll start off with that Class 92 Armstrong Powerhouse Enhancement pack again, this time a run from Dagenham to Willesden. I think it's on its way to Mossend ultimately. Then we'll take the Sleeper again from Carstairs. We'll take that up to Edinburgh. Then the cross-country HST will carry on that run that we've been doing from Edinburgh to Plymouth, and it's Derby to Sheffield tonight. And then we're going over to Great Western Express. I found a lovely scenario on Creators Club, so that'll be Paddington to Reading, and then the London Overground to finish with Watford Junction to Euston. Good evening, Amaze Days. I was just thinking it's a bit quiet in here. Hope you're feeling a lot better tonight. I bet there's a lot of people keeping an eye on this football, aren't they, with Arsenal Man City going on. I think Arsenal winning 1-0, aren't they, at the moment? So, yes, good evening. Welcome as ever. And let's get underway. So we're starting off on Train Sim Classic. So let's get the game loaded up. Hope you're well tonight. And evening slow line train spotting as well. That's a name I've not seen before. So nice always to see new names. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm glad you got over your cold anyway. I know you were laid up, but then you were a lot better in the week, weren't you, when we were talking about the sleeper train video, so glad you're feeling a lot better. It's been a lovely day here in North Staffordshire, I have to say. I mean, it's starting to go a bit cold now, but blue skies. It's been a very, very nice day indeed. And it's been a good weekend on the football front as well, hasn't it? So we've had Stoke winning, we've had Shrewsbury winning, we've even had Tottenham winning. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, well, I've got a run on Great Western Express lined up. Oh, excellent. That's good news then. So I take it then you've created something on the abbreviation SLT. That does ring a bell, actually. Yeah, just give me an idea what you have created. There's some fantastic things. I always think the Train Sim community website is absolutely wonderful, I have to say. Oh, right, yes, excellent. Yeah. I mean, I think you said yourself, didn't you, that the sound pack that comes with the Sleepers, you know, in itself was okay, but that just added to it. And I think it's always good, always on the lookout for something that just improves it, just makes it a little bit better, which is all the more exciting, really. So we'll be giving those sleeper trains coaches a run again as well in the second run tonight with the we're going to go from Carstairs to Edinburgh Waverley. Very much enjoying driving them, actually. I only purchased them on Wednesday, and it was kind of that final boost, really, with the 92 pack coming out. I thought, well, let's finally get those Mark 5 carriages. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, and I think that's the thing, and that's the great thing, I think, about the Train Sim community, because all these things are put to advantage. So here we are. Oh, I've got a slight issue here. It's coming through. It's coming through my TV, but it's not coming through on the headset. But doesn't really matter. Hope the sound's okay. Yeah, well, that doesn't matter, does it? It all certainly adds to the effect. But I do love this new pack. I must admit, the old 92 never really had much of a use for, to be honest. So fairly easy to set this up. I think it's K, yeah, to get rid of the tail lights. Also had to buy these car transporters as well off Just Trades because I didn't have them, and then there's a little mod to put the English feel to the cars on there as well. This is in the GBRF livery, so we should be okay to go. It's not like we're waiting at a station or anything anyway. Good evening, N8 Scooby. Yes, indeed. Yeah. I'll say the original. Wait a minute, have I taken the brakes? I haven't taken the brakes off properly, have I? That's it. I must admit, the original pack hardly had any use out of, really, and it always felt just a bit too on the quiet side, but this is much better. So I think we're actually going via the North London line. And I must admit, I mean, this is kind of the Dagenham area, isn't it? And in all the time I've owned the North London line, I don't think I have ever even seen this part of the route. It's good to have the cruise control as well, because it certainly makes things easier, and that's just using the sort of arrow keys, so a little bit slow on the early stages. Yeah, so we've got a couple of runs with the 92, and then going to do another run on the HST. That we've been doing the cross-country run from Plymouth to Leeds. Tonight it's Derby to Sheffield, then a couple of runs on Train Sim World. Fantastic. It certainly brings to mind, I always remember seeing the, what was it called, the Silcock Express coming through around Staffordshire, coming through places like Rugeley and Stafford and so on. Of course, that I think used to go for the two Ford plants, didn't it? One at Dagenham and the other one at Halewood, when it used to be Ford of Halewood near Liverpool. So when I recorded this video on whenever it was, Tuesday, I did turn the sounds up a little bit because I always thought it comes through a little bit low sometimes on Train Sim Classic, so give us a shout if it's too much on the loud side. It's hard to get it just right sometimes. It's a bit of a slow start. When I did the intro, I rather sped up coming out of here. We've got a sound pack on the wagons as well, the old Armstrong Powerhouse. I think it's called the old wagon pack or something, but I love the old clinks and clunks that you get. sometimes I just feel as though I've owned these routes forever and a day and never actually take full advantage of them. But yeah, certainly thanks for the sound pack. And I was just thinking, I only bought the Mark 5 carriages on Tuesday, and I thought straight away, I'm sure there's some sort of sound pack for the Mark 5 carriages, so I thought, right, let's get that in. So we are fairly shortly going up to 50 mile an hour. And I think I'm right in saying we make our way around the Gospel Oak line to a certain extent, and then end up coming onto the North London line before eventually we'd be on the West Coast main line. I mean, in theory, you could do this full run to Mossend, which is sort of in near Glasgow, end to end. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Yeah. Oh, we've got. We can go a bit faster now. Go up to 50. I saw a good scenario that's come out for the 92 as well, with Stratford to Ipswich. That's a possibility for next week. And I notice, I mean, this scenario as well, I didn't have to, I mean, it's dead easy to change the loco out anyway with TS tools, and even I'm capable of doing that. But it does make an improvement. But a couple of the 92 creators, I think this one's come from Emily, who does quite a lot of scenarios on the Train Sim Community website. And the sleeper ones have pretty much already had the new pack in. But it's made an absolute massive difference, and again, it's another pack. I mean, it's a bit like the 378 pack. You know, you kind of hardly ever used the trains in their previous guise, but this makes them a lot better. This is kind of a setting that I remember very well from Train Sim World as well, Barking itself. Ah, brilliant, Maze Tage. Yeah, I look forward to that. Yeah, that'll be good. I think the last run's scheduled to be Watford Junction to London Euston. We've got 2 Charlie 11. That's the plan. The alternative, actually, I mean, the one before, it's a Creators Club scenario, but I suppose in theory you could do it with a HST. But the 378, yeah, it's made it much better, hasn't it? And I can't remember who said there's I think we got a review somewhere who was a bit derogatory about it on YouTube, and they say some of the sounds have been reused and bits and pieces, but I certainly enjoy it. And again, it's an absolute age since I've done this section on Train Sim Classic, that's for sure. I did, yes, indeed, May Sage. Yeah, I certainly did. I was quite. I haven't had a chance to watch it absolutely all the way through, but I was quite pleased to see that. I thought, wow, that's what we're going to be doing pretty soon on Train Sim World 5, and you kind of hope that's going to be. One or two people have said it might be February, which would be really good if it was. I'm guessing the roadmap comes out quite soon as well. It's not this coming week, is it? Perhaps the week after, maybe? Yeah, I saw that. I was quite surprised about that. Ah, right, VIU, Vehicle Inspection Unit. Right, okay, that's the bit I didn't figure. I was kind of sitting wondering, I was sitting watching it and thinking, why is it with a 153? But yeah, it's a really good view of what we'll be driving on. Good point. Good point, N8 Scooby. And again, because I think that some of these links would be brilliant, particularly for the freight runs. And you know, I'm certainly looking forward to being able to connect the West Coast Main Line south and doing a freight run, and then joining it in part 2. So it would definitely help if they put that in. I'm guessing they probably won't, but it'd be great if they did. I've got quite high hopes for this incredible trains as well. I know we started off by wanting to do the whole of London, which was perhaps a bit ambitious, but I think over time, who knows what he's going to produce. The reason I'm going slightly cautiously here is because, I mean, we got cautionary signals, but I can't actually remember what colour we went through last. I think that's, yeah, it's a single yellow lurking, isn't it? So we're all right. I'm still wondering as well about the Alan Thompson route. That it was kind of surprising we didn't get any more news about that really in the January roadmap. But the January roadmap was a bit of a stopgap really, wasn't it? It was just after Christmas, and I suppose maybe in hindsight we weren't going to get massive news of stuff. Some people have suggested that they're delaying it so as they can extend it to Crewe, but I would be very surprised if that's the case. Yeah, he certainly is, isn't he? I mean, he's built the route and the train, and I know a lot of people are saying, why on earth isn't it going to Richmond or to Clapham Junction or both? But realistically, as you say, he's done it all himself, so it was never going to be, for the first release, I think it's ambitious enough. Kind of does add a little bit to the long list of Dovetail Games routes where you feel as though wished it was a bit longer, but I suppose it's kind of like, well, I guess if they've got you wanting more, then it's probably about right. because there's no 710s in Train Sim Classic, so we've got the present livery on the 378 instead. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's always intriguing to do a scenario for the first time because you've got absolutely no idea what the signals are going to be like. So what have we got? Still single yellow. So trying to take this a little bit cautiously. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be very nice. And I mean, I'm kind of. It'll be interesting to see actually. Like I say, I think it's a bit unrealistic to suddenly say that they're going to do. Oh, we're actually going to delay it and extend it to Crewe. But it'd be interesting to see what the track's like, because who knows? The track might all be in place to Crewe, and then yeah, that could be a follow-up pack, perhaps. I don't know, maybe later in the year or in 12 months time, but it'd be good, something like that, a 319. That's known as the business as being a bit lucky. It's funny, isn't it? I've been cautiously going along, but I suppose that's the problem. We've got a train behind us clearly, but I was mightily relieved to see that clear, because we would have been touch and go there if we'd made it. The scenery's clearly not as good as it is on the Train Sim World 5 route, but it's not bad. Yeah, I've always said about the 769, I think in particular, I could see that more likely than a 319 or a 321 or the other ones, but you kind of feel as though they're already halfway there with some of the stuff that we've got with the 710. I think a lot really probably depends on all this licensing thing, because if they've not sorted that out, then realistically, are they going to bring out a 769? But it would be a great use, because we could have it on the Cross City line, and we could have it on the West Coast Main Line South, and that would be pretty good. And you know, if we could have an upgrade with the Pendolino and everything at Birmingham New Street, the 350s as well, and it should just add again a bit more variety to both routes. I mean, I think the 323s have gone off the Cross City now anyway, haven't they, in real life? So suddenly you'd have a route that would almost feel brand new, a bit like what they did with the well, I was going to say with the Cathcart Circle, but I mean, they haven't really upgraded the top, but you can use the 385 on the Cathcart Circle, can't you? Ah, marvellous. The problem is, I always think with stuff like that, that it's, I think if you were driving past my house on the train game, not that I live next to a train line, but I think you'd want it to be that realistic, that it to be photorealistic, and okay, you can retexture and you can do all sorts, but you know, I think a generic building just wouldn't do the trick when it's in this case like your sister's house. I've just got this funny feeling that we're not going to be going particularly fast on this run. Are we ever actually going to get to full line speed? Maybe when we get onto the North London line proper we'll go a bit faster. Now I mean the big question is, does your sister know that this line is on the train game and her house is effectively on the train game? I would like the adventurers to come to Train Sim Classic as well. Can't see a glimpse of red round the corner. And the chances are she's probably not in the slightest bit bothered. So try and keep an eye on these signals, pesky signals that they are along here. But I think we are following a EMU. Good time perhaps to say. Just once again, thanks for all the new subscribers that have subscribed recently, building towards the 500 now, hopefully relatively soon. And I'm speeding here. I always get this mixed up in Train Sim Classic as well, don't I, this section? But if you've not subscribed and you're enjoying the stream, hope you are, then please like and subscribe. Hit that notification button for notice of future streams. I'm trying to get these midweek videos up as much as I possibly can. Yeah, if you like speed on these scenarios, this ain't one of them. That's the problem with scenarios sometimes, though. You can't really always know what they're going to be like, and I suppose I could have substituted it for another car transporter, but you know, it's one of those things. I might never use this car transporter that I've had from Just Trades today, but it's kind of worth building up the collection, I guess. This is a genuine signal then that we're being held up for by the looks of it. When we get to the 5, there we go, we cleared 2. Cleared single yellow. When we get to the 500 subscribers, I might do a full run using TrainSim Classic, TrainSim World, but I'm thinking perhaps a full run from Euston to Glasgow in the live stream. And I noticed there's a fairly recent... No, that's not our signal, is it? I was confused then. I noticed there's a new sound pack from, I think it's Sam TS, isn't it? Or something similar for the Pendolino as well, so we could give that a go. Hopefully that might be the next couple of weeks. I do quite like these little things, kind of meandering around parts of London. Keep getting confused. You get those little glimpses of red, and it's those signs, and you think, is that a red signal? This one ahead of us is cleared to yellow, so again we can kind of amble our way through. Good evening, Laura. Welcome again to the stream. I know can't remember seeing your name in the last few weeks, but I know you've certainly watched before. We are going down to TrainSim World 5 a little bit later on. We've got 3 runs lined up on TrainSim Classic, and then we'll be going through on TrainSim World 5. We're going to be taking a run on the Great Western Express with a Creators Club scenario. So we'll do the GWR IET, and we'll have Elizabeth Line trains running alongside as well. Just a shame it isn't fully electrified to Reading. And then the final run, although that'll be a bit later on, will be TrainSim World 5 as well, with Watford Junction to London Euston. But we'll keep going on TrainSim Classic. We'll be on TrainSim Classic probably at least the next hour or so, because we've got this run, and then the second part is also this Class 92. We're going to be doing the sleeper from Carstairs to Motherwell. Here's another 378. We've got another single yellow signal. Just a reminder really of, with real drivers, the concentration that has to be required for these sort of runs, because when you're constantly facing yellow signals, it can be so easy to drift along, and then you'd be going too fast to stop for the red. Yeah, absolutely. I would love that as well. And I'd love them to do a 91, which would go lovely alongside it. I think it's, how long it'll be in the future, I don't know, but I think it's kind of inevitable, really. And that would be magnificent then, because we would have then the whole of King's Cross through to Doncaster. And kind of you want the other end as well. You want them to do Doncaster to Leeds and Leeds to York. It's such a shame in some ways that, I mean, I think the demand is intense, really. But I mean, you think some of the announcements they made last summer with that Welsh Valley lines, we got a yellow again, and the Dutch line as well, and we've not seen any screenshots. We've seen a couple of screenshots of the trains, and that's about as far as it's gone. So realistically, you think, well, surely they've got to come out in the Trains in World 5 time before we go through to Trains in World 6 in September. But I suppose realistically there might only be, I don't know, another couple of UK routes before then, if we're lucky, I guess. Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of just going to say that. And I mean, again, there's never any guarantees, because, of course, when DTG brought out East Coast Mainline South for Trainsim Classic all those years ago, they certainly did not include the Moorgate branch, and that needed somebody from the freeware community to come along and do it. But I mean, that would be magnificent. And again, you kind of always want more, so you'd be saying, well, do you finish it, those services at Welwyn Garden City, or, you know, do you have the Hertford Loop put in it? But realistically, probably you're not going to get the whole lot. We've already got the 700s in the game as well, so it would be great to have the, you know, the proper 717s for the sort of the Moorgate workings. But you kind of hope we're going to get there eventually. You kind of hope we're going to get the Great Eastern Main Line at some point as well, because there's fantastic scenario potential of that as well, and with the full timetable. And you know, I'll probably say this every single week, but it's great having all these scenarios on Train Sim Classic, and you've got a lot more variety with the routes, but having the 24-hour timetable with these things is just so many possibilities. Yeah, I mean, that would be lovely. And I think the trouble is, and you know, I feel like this myself, but we tend to find with Trains in World 5 that you kind of think, oh, it'd be great if they could make sure they include this bit in, do that bit, do the other bit. And they always seem to just fall a little bit short. I mean, people still a bit annoyed that the West Coast Mainline South route only went as far as Milton Keynes. But again, with that, there is variety, because you have the Watford DC lines. And I thought realistically, and kind of knowing a little bit about the lengths and the stuff that they've done with routes over the last few years, Milton Keynes always seemed like a potential endpoint. So I think, you know, if we didn't have any of the Hertford loop in, but we had, say, the Moorgate branch in, and it went to Peterborough, then I'd be happy with that. Yeah, but it's kind of the trouble is though, if you don't put Peterborough in, it's missing a whole shed load as well, isn't it? You kind of want to have that King's Cross to Peterborough, so as it joins up with the other bit of the East Coast Main Line. Oh, delighted. I have to say the Alan Thompson route to Cambridge, and okay, I know it's his hometown, isn't it? But that is pretty magnificent. Still never done that in the stream, actually. The King's Cross to Cambridge route. That's interesting, isn't it? Go via the North London line to the West Coast Main Line, Freight Line. Well, down, I think it is, isn't it? It's sort of chopped off. I've got me full brakes off, haven't I? Yeah. Losing power here. What's going on? Ah, right, okay. Ah, right, I've encountered this before, haven't I? You have to press the F button, don't you? There we go. We are indeed, Blara. Very slow one as well, but it's a car transporter. Just need to keep an eye on these pesky signals. We've still got a red one. I'll try and show you the car transporters on the back. Yeah, I'd love us to get another part of the West Coast Main Line and take us up to Birmingham New Street and beyond, really. I mean, ultimately my dream is to be able to do a full run on the West Coast Main Line from London Euston to Manchester Piccadilly via Stoke, which is kind of my hometown, but yet to be able to do that and even train some classic. Go via Stoke, but not the Macclesfield Stockport bit. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's. I love how I've got a feeling St Pancras is even on this, isn't it? So there's plenty of like rail tour opportunities with some of this stuff. Now, it did say, I'm sure it said somewhere that there was a signal that we could tab through on. This might have been it. What did it say? Did it say in the briefing? It doesn't say there, does it? But I'm sure. Let's just have a look. Centre player. So, Yeah, it's that loop at Gospel Oak, isn't it? But we're routed past there, so right, okay, that's the issue. So I think basically the Gospel Oak to Barking train, that's why it's kind of got the red on there. Yeah, so we are okay. We should be all right. Oh, fantastic! Fantastic N8 Scooby. Which dealer was that, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah, this is the train, Lara. Long old one as well. Keep having a glance at the football as well, just in case I've missed a big classic, but I don't think I have. Yeah, I think that's a train sim classic kind of bug, because it's kind of protecting that bay, but of course that's held by the signals as well. Oh wow, yeah, fantastic. Well, some people joke, you know, well, it's where are we now? 15 years ago since you went to Stoke, and some people will say, well, you probably didn't want to rush back. All right, wow. Yeah, the Subaru Impreza, yeah. They quite popular as rally cars, as I recall. Not that, I mean, my knowledge on cars is pretty much hopeless. Now, that's the first time in the whole of this run that we finally got a green, and I'm guessing that's because of that. We must have been following a Barking to Gospel Oak train, so that's now in the bay, so hopefully now we've got a clear run for the remainder of this service, although we're only a few miles away from the destination, aren't we? So it's been a fairly slow run, in all honesty. Yeah, I kind of remember the old days of Top Gear Rally Report, and that fantastic music that they used to use, and I always used to enjoy seeing the RAC rally around about November time. I always wished I kind of braved the cold, and because I think they were somewhere around this area, I think they used to race through sometimes, but never got the chance to see it. Right, so now we can set ourselves to 40, and then hopefully we've got a clear run for the remaining part of this run. And that was West Hampstead, wasn't it? I think. It's been a fairly sedate start to the stream. Pretty slow run, has to be said, but still enjoyable though. And I think it's a great pack from Armstrong Powerhouse. Personally, much needed. I mean, some will say the old one was probably decent enough, but I think this is an improvement. That's a 378 in the more conventional original Overground livery. But greatly looking forward to driving the 378 on Train Sim World 5, hopefully fairly soon on this section, and doing sort of a few freight workings as well. Yes, that's the Midland main line, isn't it? Is that West Hampstead Thames link down there, I think. Yeah, keeps west of the train. I've got off the train at West Hampstead Thames link and then walked up to the this overground line, which is only a few yards away. Ah, right, yeah, excellent, yeah. Oh, that'll be good. That will be good. Oh, I'm fine, thank you, SCS Southwestern. I know you've been another busy week for you. You've posted plenty of videos. I've seen a few bits and pieces, and I'm fine. Hope you too. Wow, looks as though all the goals have just gone in the football. So it's looking like a fairly sedate 1-0 win for Arsenal at one stage, but that's moved on a little bit. Yeah, glad to hear it. I hope I get some more use out of these car transporters. I can't say it's been the most dynamic of runs, but I do quite like these runs where you're kind of stuck behind signals and you've got to just concentrate a little bit more than you might do normally. Hopefully we'll get a bit of a better run with the Caledonian Sleeper that's coming up next. But of course it's perfectly possible to do the entire run of the Caledonian Sleeper, but I'm not sure I'll be rushing to stream that because there's parts of it that'll be kind of like middle of the night and pitch black for large durations. Ah, excellent, SCS. Yeah, I absolutely love the sounds on the 700 with the mod anyway. That fantastic PC mod. I think it's an excellent train to drive. And you have a lovely view as well from the cab. I mean, again, that's another route it'd be lovely to see extended, and you know, to get the tunnel section and bits and pieces. Speedy now should be down to 15, and then I think when we limber up towards the next signal, that'll probably be about it. I don't think it went. Oh, excellent, yeah. I mean, I'm glad as well that we have some of the gaps filled in now with the some of the Thameslink runs with that great Train Sim Classic route. Oh, what's his name? Nicholas, isn't it? He's done a fantastic job. I think basically that this is where we end it. Yeah. I mean, actually, on this bank here, I've got a video that I recorded last summer of the train being held at the signal, and it kind of is the connection with the West Coast Main Line proper. Yeah, it's not even giving us the chance to have a look outside. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Oh, I've done that sometimes. Sometimes it's not always. Well, I suppose it's skill really if you bring it to a stop in the perfect place, but also you could kind of say, oh, I got a bit lucky there, but yeah, it's worked out just nice. And if you kind of planned it, you'd never do it like that. But sometimes it happens. Right, so we're back into Train Sim Classic again, so for our second run. So this time it'll be the Caledonian Sleeper. I always like to kind of quit the game, reload it, because you know what Train Sim Classic's like. It will has a propensity to dump on you. But yeah, I do love the Thameslink, and I say in conjunction with what's available on Train Sim Classic as well, and it's a pretty good one to drive on Train Sim Classic. There's all sorts of bits and pieces on the Thameslink network that you can do now. So this is the very recently upgraded Edinburgh to Carstairs by, I can't remember his name actually, AGD. But this is literally only been done in the last few weeks. So we're getting Carstairs to Edinburgh. So a fairly shortish run really, hoping we get more or less clear signals. But another chance to take the sleeper out in daylight. Of course, this is kind of in the summertime. I think there was a reskin of one thing that I've not actually downloaded, thinking about it. I meant to put that in, but it's not going to detract from it anyway. There's always something in Train Sim Classic that you've not quite got or you've not quite installed. Yeah, so we won't worry about that. Yes, it's less than 30 miles away. There is the fabulous Caledonian Sleeper livery. So we'll get that set up again. The lights on as well so we can see what we're doing. Yeah, well, I mean, it probably will in time, won't it? But it's all time, and I think the problem is it's just comparatively small team. So you know, sort of dovetail games and the various third parties that help them out. It all takes time. What do we else do we want? Yeah, we'll have that on. We'll turn the cab light off. So we're 6:41 in the morning, and it doesn't actually tell us what time. Where is it? You're not due till 7:49. And I think at this point we would have split up as well. So we've got a much shorter train than we might have had otherwise. Which we will have a look at in due course. I'll just keep an eye out on these signals. Right, okay, well of course we're going this way, aren't we? I'm seeing those red signals over there, so we might be alright. Yeah, very much so. So, and again, it's all bits that, you know, I think we'd all like to see, really, bits of the Midland Main Line, bit more of East Coast Main Line, and then the Great Eastern Main Line as well. Quite going to burst away yet, because we'll keep an eye out on what's happening with these signals. I'm hoping we get more or less a clear run to Edinburgh, because otherwise, if we've got a slow run, then it would be a shame. Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, if you can have, for me, I mean, if you can have anything out of Waterloo, I would be absolutely thrilled by. I don't mind admitting. I mean, I kind of wonder whether dovetail games are a bit scared of that because of kind of London Brighton and how busy Victoria was and the problems with consoles and this, that and the other. I hope we get it at some point. And then, you know, the same with London Euston, Milton Keynes as well, and Euston's still a bit buggy. I mean, if anything, Victoria operates better than Euston does, but I think that might be something to do with the model. Yeah, I think they do, and I think there's the potential there is absolutely enormous. I mean, even with the London Brighton line, I mean they built the 700, but were not willing to put it into London Brighton. But then along came that chap from the Czech train sim mod site, and he built the timetable for that. So anybody with a PC can run it in with the 700, but I think DTG were unwilling to mess about with it. I think that's been the one inhibiting factor that's a constant over the last couple of years. Right, we can now get up to 95. So finally, well, I say 95. We're limited to 80, aren't we, in the sleeper? But we finally get some speed going. I mean, I've said this before, but when London Brighton came out, I mean, I was blown away with it, and I remember the excitement just watching the preview about how busy Victoria was. And I thought, this is it, this is what Train Sim World's all about, and this is the start, but it's never properly materialised. Yeah, I think that's the case. I think they built a bit of a monster, really. Superb monster, though. So, I can't remember exactly how many carriages we'd have started out on from Euston, but this is kind of the short version. This is the Lowland. I think the Lowland, am I right in saying we're going to Edinburgh and then Inverness and Aberdeen, possibly? Do we actually say on here? Ooh, that might be me not having set the timetable up, or the scenario creator. And again, if you didn't see the midweek stream on Wednesday, this is there's your bunk bed. Got your washing facilities over there. Yeah, it certainly does, and I know the console user wouldn't agree, but it's a fabulous mod, and you know, so great. You're driving through large parts of the line, and you know, coming out of Victoria. It's one of my favourite routes still. I mean, even Clapham Junction, okay, you haven't got the 700s there, but how busy it is around there, even without the 700s and the southwestern stuff, it's still pretty decent. Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah, well, that's been said, hasn't it? And you kind of get the impression that the chap who's been doing these remasters, I know he did the West Somerset Railway as well. It's been a little bit of a passion project, and you know, kind of done it on his own in his own time slightly. So it's a shame though, because we do need to revisit some of these older routes. And I mean, I think the Great Western's still pretty decent, as we'll see a bit later on. But it would massively benefit from a remaster. And that's coming out. I just think, you know, I've said this before, but I think the missed opportunity by just not having. I'd love it to be set now and have the OHLE between Paddington and Reading, because then you could properly have the Elizabeth Line trains and the IETs in. We're going to be running the IET later on, but we're cheating slightly, because once we get past Airport Junction, past Hayes and Harlington, then we'll still have the pantograph up, but luckily it's at the back. Bit of shrubbery going on there, but we will still be in electric mode effectively. It doesn't work when you go to diesel mode. Yeah, he's the one, isn't he? Yeah, I've read about him on the forums, and it seems to put in a great amount of work. I mean, hats off to him. I mean, I'm looking forward to the remaster though. It will add some value to it. So that'll be our fourth route, because run tonight, Paddington to Reading, but we've got Derby to Sheffield coming up shortly with the HST packing in, so the last one of Train Sim Classic for the night. So at the moment we are running between Carstairs and Edinburgh Waverley. So we're on the Lowland night sleeper, so it's what time is it now? It's 10 to 7 in the morning, but it's the middle of summer, so it's still daylight. And we've got the shorter formation now on the Sleeper. The other portion's gone off at Carstairs to Glasgow Central. Haha, yes indeed. Haha. Yes, that was quite dramatic, wasn't it? Yeah, we're carrying on that run. With the HST, we're going from Derby to Sheffield, and then we've still got then Sheffield to get to Leeds, so we'll have to do that in 2 stages. Sheffield Doncaster on that TPE South route. It's not completely finished actually, that section, but at least it's possible, and then we'll do Doncaster to Leeds, and then we'll have done effectively the whole journey from Plymouth to Leeds. I know. I mean, it kind of flew off as though it was a 500 mile an hour collision, let alone 10 mile an hour. But we've been doing these live streams since September. That was the first time we've had a crash. But I think the chap who's upgraded this route has, I don't exactly know what bits he's put in, but it's certainly upgraded. Yeah, these are the Mark 5s from Alan Thompson Simulation, and we've got that sound mod in that slow line train spotting SLT created from the Train Sim community website. So just improves that those running sounds. Very good characters as well. I think one or two have been hoping that I think it's Max Mortimer, is it, who made the Mark 5s, and would have been nice if we could have done the Mark 5s for use on with the Class 68s, and that could have been something for use on the Transpennine routes, but it's not come to fruition so far. Sorry, I missed the point on that. Which are compatible? Sometimes the mind wanders as I'm driving with these things and looking at different things. I know they are compatible, the Mark 5s, with this 92, because you have those that what they call Delnet couplings, aren't you? And it's quite common that they use the 92s on this service. Be interested to know the rules on sounding the horn as well. I was mentioning this on the midweek video, but here we are, 4 minutes to 7 in the morning. Is it okay to sound your horns? I'm sure there's some sort of rules about sounding your horn at night time. Great view, wasn't it, going over the viaduct? Right, we're back up speed-wise now, up to full speed, so we can go back up to, well, 80 anyway. I think the whole point is that you wouldn't want the sleeper. You could obviously get a lot quicker from Euston to Edinburgh, but what would be the point? You wouldn't want to arrive there at 5 o'clock in the morning or earlier. Ah, right. Excellent. Excellent. There we go. All systems go on that front, I think. So hopefully we've got a clear run into Edinburgh Waverley, and I suspect we're going to arrive ahead of schedule. I'm going to go on overkill now, aren't I, with the horn. Pretty good though, I must admit. I do love how we've got all these little bits filled in, and you know, there was a time when you can well, one of the very early routes, wasn't it, for West Coast Main Line North for Train Sim Classic, where we could do Carlisle to Glasgow Central, and then we had kind of Glasgow Queen Street to Edinburgh Waverley, and it took an absolute age. I think it was DP Darren Porter was his name, who I think actually did the section from Carstairs to Edinburgh Waverley. Of course, this is the route where cross-country trains would also operate on, and you get trains actually going from Glasgow Central to Edinburgh using the kind of the other loop on Carstairs as well. Fairly sedate drive really, with 80 mile an hour. Again, you'd be quite happy having had a nice rest in the bunk bed, a nice sedate ride. Reminded me of looking at a couple of the pictures of going on the Caledonian Sleeper. I've done it 3 times over the years and thoroughly enjoyed it every time. Only once with these Mark 5 carriages. So good time to say again, thank you again for all the new subscribers, for all the old subscribers as well. Your support massively appreciated. Thank you very much. And if you're watching afresh and you haven't liked and subscribed, then if you could do so, I'd be really grateful, because it's just helping grow the support on the channel. Right, Lara, well, we've got another run on Train Sim Classic. We're doing Derby to Sheffield in Train Sim Classic. That's next to the HST. But after that, it will be Train Sim World 5. And then we're doing London Paddington to Reading. And that's in a Great Western Railway IET that we borrowed from LNER. It's in the right livery. And you'll see the Elizabeth line trains as well. So that'll be pretty good, because that's we've got a neutral section. And then last of all, finally, it'll be the Overground from Watford Junction to London Euston with the 710. Yes, I've done that once as well, SLT. Yeah, I did that with my brother. Goodness knows how many years ago that is. Probably about 10 years ago now. He'd be able to tell me the exact year. But that was fun as well, going from Penzance to Paddington. The breakfast was better on the Caledonian Sleeper though, because we got a nice bacon roll and a coffee on the Night Riviera, and they're still using the Mark IIIs, of course, aren't they, on the Night Riviera, but they have been refurbished in recent years, and I've seen it as well since in the last couple of years, standing at the platform with the 57 at the helm. I think it's interesting to think many years ago there was a whole plethora of sleeper trains that operated on various journeys, and you'd certainly get sleeper trains out of King's Cross as well as Euston. But we're down to the final two. I mean, there was a thing about the Fort William sleeper in the 80s, I recall. There was, I think, a wish by British Rail to cancel it, but I think there's a big campaign to keep it going. And it seems to be flourishing, because if you have a look on the Caledonian Sleeper website, you're looking at, often there's a waiting list, sort of time-wise. It's a struggle to even book one in the next kind of few days, or certainly was the last time I looked anyway. We're coming towards the end of this journey. So the last 3 miles, we'll reach Waverley. Better get ourselves down to 50 if we're going to get any hold-ups at all getting into Edinburgh. You kind of assume the traffic's reasonably quiet this time of the morning. I think when me and my brother went on the Night Riviera, it was November as I recall, but either October or November, but we picked the most mildest winter day ever, and walking along the seafront at Penzance when we got there, it was incredibly mild. All right, fantastic base stage, yeah. Yeah, we're not far off from Edinburgh Waverley on this run now, and then we'll be moving on to the HST. I think Laura's desperate that we move on to Train Sim World 5, but we'll be doing that. Well, be too far off. Actually, before I restart the next scenario, I must just remember to reset me sound a little bit so that it's coming through my headset and not through the TV speakers. I hope that's not interfering too badly. So this is Haymarket. I've yet to download this Network Scott East route again. I did have the original version, but I haven't got the latest version installed. I mean, a lot of that's on the 5 circle anyway, as far as I can gather, for Tracing World 5. I'm kind of more interested in the electric bit of it that was in the first bit than anything. Yeah, it's very much like the brakes on this are kind of what you get on freight trains, but quite intuitive though. So after our run with the car transporters, which was very slow, with this we've had greens all the way, which has been good to see. Yeah, it's one of those situations there where you thought, wait a minute, is this a red? But you get these slightly obscure views. It must be a headache for real train drivers. Always a great excitement, I think, arriving into Edinburgh Waverley. One of the great stations. So we've got a reasonably busy station. I think you can see a 385 and at least a 170. We're going to make our way into platform 11. I kind of think the you know, these daytime bits of the sleeper are kind of a bit more interesting, and again, if you pick the summer and you leave Euston, you can get a bit of daylight as well. But not a great fan of night time, particularly on Train Sim Classic. So our passengers should be able to, who are leaving us here at Edinburgh Waverley, should be able to depart. I love it. It's got the detail there on the safety information. There we go, scenario complete. So that's part 2 completed. So we've had a couple of fairly sedate runs, really, I suppose, so far. But as always, I still enjoy them. I like the variety, really. Right, so what I'm just going to remind myself here is, yeah, I want it coming through the headset. That's better. Right, there we go. So that's that, and then let's move on to part 3. So we're back on the HST again now. Hope everybody's not bored of this run with the HST, this cross country. It's always a nice run on the HST. And we're going from Derby to Sheffield this time. So if I can read me writing, I think it's 1 Echo 67 that we're now driving on the Just Trains Middle and Main line. And if we looked last week when we used that fairly outdated route, that Birmingham 2010, that's a very, very old route. Well, the Derby that's on the Just Trains Middle and Main line is massively superior. In fact, it's a lovely route, actually. I might just turn the sound on Train Sim Classic down because I put it up quite loud because the electric's quite quiet really, but HST a bit noisier, so hoping not to blast people's ears out. It's just trying to get the balance really. You like to hear it nice and loud and how it should be, but if it's a bit too loud or the sound levels aren't quite right, just give us a shout, let us know, as ever. Arsenal seem to have found their way anyway, don't they, tonight? I could perhaps have watched the first half an hour before the stream, but I was just doing a few last minute bits and pieces, just getting everything ready. Must oil this chair one of these days. That's the creaking that you hear. It's not the bones, it's definitely the chair. So we've kind of got a summer's evening now. And we're going from Derby through to Sheffield. Right, so train set up. Actually, I don't always remember this, but let's get this set up as well. Right, so we want one. Actually, one. Oh no. One echo, isn't it? So, oh, I've done it again. One. Oh, I've done it again. Try and be a bit quicker. That's it. 67, and then what's the signal number? 5. So it only takes 3 numbers, doesn't it? So 061 then. There we go. That should do us. Better get those lights off, otherwise we're going to get told off. It's beginning to get a bit gloomy at this time of the night. So I think we're Derby, Chesterfield, and then Sheffield. And it feels, it doesn't feel that long ago actually since I got this Armstrong Powerhouse MTU pack, but again it's made a big difference, and I've enjoyed all the runs I've had in it. Sometimes I feel as though, you know, what I'm talking about, as though all I do is advertise Armstrong Powerhouse, but I like all the mods actually. It doesn't matter where they come from. Away we leave Derby. Got the old Litchurch Lane works behind. They're talking in the week about the Railway 200 celebrations that will take place a bit later in the year at Derby. Celebrated 200 years since the Stockton and Darlington Railway came into being. But yeah, if the train's a bit loud, let me know. I'm hoping it's about okay. Yeah, not a route I've done road massively. I did do a stream, I think, I don't know, months ago now. I did it the other way, Sheffield to Derby. It's quite nice to see the early evening. I mean, here we are on this scenario at sort of 9:15 in the evening in summertime. Kind of that orangey glow on things. Lovely when we get these long summer evenings again, hopefully. How are we doing for time? 7:15. So yeah, so we are not too far off, about 7 o'clock being the midpoint between transitioning from Train Sim Classic to Train Sim World. wish you could choose with the when you press that number 4 button as to what angle you get. I love that pass where as though you're standing at the side of the track watching it go by. And I wish there was something in Train Sim World that was a bit more adept. I know you can kind of use the 8 key and then zoom away and all that stuff, but never feels not quite as good as it could be. Chesterfield's going to be one of these stations where, because I'm not used to driving this route very often, I'm going to have to be careful and make sure that we make it in time. Usually I make these comments around about now and then realise with about a mile to go that I'm going much too fast. And now that we have that full route on the Steam Workshop as well, it's possible to do both Sheffield and Nottingham through to St Pancras. Of course, if you want the better version of the route from Bedford, again there's the Armstrong Powerhouse pack, which improves the Middle and Main line massively. Well, they made a great effort with a lot of these bridges as well. There's a lot of custom stuff just to get this done perfectly. Yeah, so next week on the cross country HST we'll do Sheffield to Doncaster, and then we just got Doncaster to Leeds, and then when we get towards that 500 subscriber point, then hopefully I'm thinking of doing a special stream where we'll do the whole of London Euston to Glasgow Central. I think that could make for an interesting stream, hopefully, for the night. That'll be just one single Pendolino run. I didn't mean to go into emergency there. I hope that doesn't mean that it's caught me, hasn't it? We're going to have to, it's going to bring us to a halt, I think. Oh, we might be alright. No, we're alright. Got away with that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I hope so. And it'll probably be one of those kind of combination things again. We start off with Train Sim World 5, then pick it up at Milton Keynes with Train Sim Classic. It's just there's quite a few full run services on from Euston to Glasgow, but it's just kind of picking the right one, and we'll see how to do it, because in theory we could also do Preston to Carlisle and in Train Sim World as well, possibly. So again, just to say it, but thanks for everybody that's subscribed to the channel so far, much appreciated. And if you haven't done so, then please like and subscribe. I'd be tremendously grateful if you're enjoying it. Help to support the channel. When we get to Chesterfield, we'll have a look out for the Crooked Spire, of course, famous Crooked Spire. I think they realised at the time, it became fairly obvious fairly soon after it was built that it was crooked, and it was kind of like, well, we could fix it, we could correct that, but it became kind of so much of a tourist attraction that they thought, no, let's keep it in, let's keep it crooked. I do know home of the Spirites as well, I think they're called, the Chesterfield Football Club. I can well remember them very nearly reaching the FA Cup final. They were 2-1 and on the verge of making it 3-1 against Middlesbrough in 1997 in that semi-final. And they had a ball that definitely crossed the line, as I recall. Of course, no VAR in those days. And then eventually, well, Middlesbrough went 3-2 up, and then they scrambled an equaliser, but then Middlesbrough won the replay 4-0. But that was the year when Chesterfield very nearly reached the FA Cup final. And then we got Roberto Di Matteo scoring after 42 seconds in the final, I remember, that year. But very nice, again, lovely representation of the Peak District and the Derbyshire countryside. Yeah, keeping a sharp eye out for Chesterfield. So we're due in 21:03, departing 21:05, and then we arrive into Sheffield at 21:19, so about 20 odd minutes away. Sometimes wonder whether it looks a bit darker on the screen than it does on the TV screen. I mean, it's kind of getting towards darkness, but it's still fairly light, I would say. This is a long tunnel. Remember there being a drama on ITV in the, when would it be now, early 2000s, I suppose, where it was supposed to be, called it the last train. It was supposed to be a train between St Pancras and Sheffield, and when they went through a tunnel just before Chesterfield, presumably that was the tunnel there, then the Earth was hit by an asteroid, and they woke up several years later. But the thing that always amused me, I mean, I think they spent an awful lot of money on trying to make it look realistic and this, that and the other, but you could clearly see the catenary going into the tunnel, so it was clearly the West Coast Main Line, and I think we saw Chesterfield station on it, and it was definitely Stafford, so there's a few bits that didn't feel quite right. We shouldn't have any trouble getting into Sheffield, because we'll be slowed down naturally by the various speed restrictions, but I mean, we have got a 95, but we are less than 3 miles away now into Chesterfield station. I mean, we probably are getting to the point really where a lot of people on the stream basically won't remember HSTs. And you have to be of a certain age to remember them from the outset, from the 70s. You can see a view of there's the crooked spire in the background. We must kind of keep an eye in terms of making sure we get these brakes on. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And of course that was the branding, wasn't it? You know, going back to British Rail Blue, Intercity 125, and it was a great brand name. And then we got, you know, in the 90s we got the Intercity 225, and that was kind of a slight play on numbers, because one was miles per hour, the other one was kilometres per hour, and of course the 225 never actually did 225 in real service. A couple of 158s in northern livery. I think it's fantastic that Cross Country actually painted this lead power car that we got on here in British Rail Blue, and then the one at the back in the old Intercity Swallow livery, both which I absolutely love, by the way. But yeah, there it is. Intercity 125, that's exactly as it was. Oh, a nice bonus here. My brothers arrived with the half-time coffee. Thanks, Dan. there is the, so we've got 43007, 43008 on the back in that marvellous swallow livery, and both of them absolutely superb. Personally, I still quite like the cross-country livery as well. I think it's fairly neat myself. Ah, there we go, that's nice, nice. Decent coffee, keep me going. So I think we've only got, what, about a quarter of an hour to go. Sadly not, no, I think we're lacking in biscuits actually. But yeah, exactly right, yep, 7 o'clock, absolutely on the dot. Said about halfway through. Only really seem to get regular supply of biscuits. We seem to get at Christmas. We always get a box of biscuits then, and even then I tend to eat more of them than brother is. I think he's not a great biscuit fan. All right, that's an Edinburgh to Birmingham New Street service. I suppose this time of the night, yeah, you're not going to get cross-country trains that are going to go through to the south west, are you? Although they've got great power behind them, the HSTs, they're not the quickest of accelerators. Tell you what, it's getting quite dark now, isn't it? So, but we've only got about 15 minutes ride into Sheffield. We've had no Christopher tonight, have we, so far? Certainly won't be lurking in the background. I can't remember last week if he said he might be busy. But I'm sure he hasn't abandoned us, that's for sure. Yeah, it's kind of quite gloomy at this stage. You're kind of, even in a summer's evening, 7 minutes past 9. So we should hopefully have the lights glowing a little bit as we come into Sheffield. We'll pass the junction with the Hope Valley line as well shortly. There is a Class 50 scenario somewhere. I think it was one that OTS did, that you can kind of do Derby to Manchester Piccadilly via the Hope Valley line on a Class 50 rail tour. You can see the lights are now on the buildings as we go past some of them. Can't see the track now. It's that dark. I think we've kind of got maximum lights on. Of course, essentially the headlights more about being seen rather than actually lighting the train ahead. It's not massively. I mean, nowadays you tend to get a fairly decent view in the dark of the line ahead, but it never used to be considered as being a massively essential thing. Good evening, Connor. Welcome again. Glad you could join us. And I think this is about the third week running, I would say. Hope you're well. And I do quite like the last straight stage. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you very much. Hope you are all fine. I do like the latter stages as we get into Sheffield, and okay, it'll be a bit dark and gloomy at this time of the night, but there's an immense amount of detail around the buildings. You can see Sheffield United and Bramall Lane in the distance, and they've made a good representation of the city. So we've had a couple of runs on the Class 92. So we did a freight service from Dagenham to Willesden. Then the sleeper from Montrose, Class 92 again to Edinburgh. We're on the HST on the last few miles into Sheffield. So we're getting over to Trainson Will 5 shortly. We've got a couple more runs. And we've got Great Western Express, Paddington to Reading with the GWR-IET. And then finally a run on the London Overground with Watford Junction to London Euston. It's a bit faster, this series. The 292 scenarios were a bit sedate, I would say. Quite slow, particularly the freight run. Yeah, I've seen there's quite a few sound mods actually with announcements, but I'm a little bit reluctant to put them on the stream really, because you get into all sorts of copyright issues. But if they've kind of been included within a scenario that somebody's made, I've tended to use them, but if not, I've not tended to put them in. Haha. Yeah. Well, you'll know them anyway, that's for sure. You are very much the expert of the train announcements. What's this? Door and Totley, this station here, by the way. I think they're building a new platform. They might have done it by now in real life. And there's a road, I mean, we can't see it here, it's too dark, but there's a kind of a road that goes to the Peak District, and you kind of come around a bend and then you come into the final stretch to head towards Sheffield. And you kind of don't realise at that point you're only literally less than 4 miles away from the city centre. suppose it's quite nice to try different times of the day. I think we might just pass on the left the Tesco with a Z. It was kind of just Train's little joke. He'll be calling at Portsmouth and Southsea, Fratton, Havant, Emsworth, Southbourne, Chichester, Barnum, Angmering, Worthing, Shoreham by Sea, Portslade, Hove and Brighton. Of course we can do most of that route now with that West Coastway route that came out before Christmas for Train Sim Classic. I need to get some serious brakes on here actually. This is the later stage. Takes an absolute age once you release the brakes before the brakes actually come off. Yeah, well, that's what we should be saying here really, actually, shouldn't we? We're now approaching Sheffield. Please do not leave any items of luggage unattended on trains or at stations. Please remember to take all your personal belongings with you when leaving the train. Away. That's the tram lines up above there. I've done it this time. Have I? Oh. No, we're all right. Didn't quite stop. But I did briefly go into emergency brakes. Believe it or not, we are still moving just about. I think I should have taken that off and then, yeah, that's what I should have done. That's an easier way of doing it. We can see the lights of Sheffield. I think it's again, you know, it's kind of night time now. We can see it's quite nicely lit up there. The only dilemma I've got for the next part is, do I carry on basically in the dark, or do we get it adjusted to an earlier service? So I think that signal there is not ours. We need to go a bit further down the platform. That should do us, should it? I would say. Yeah, we're definitely in the platform. That'll do us. But again, lovely model of the station. And then you can see one or two custom buildings around here as well. Yeah, I think that's, I believe that is Sheffield United. There we go. Well, it's nice to get a compliment. Great work this evening, driver. Wise words. Wise words, Connor. Okay, so that's Train Sim Classic, and let's get into Train Sim World 5 now. And we are going to see that Great Western Railway IET that you can see on the screenshot. And if you look very closely, you'll notice that it's still with LNER seating, but of course there's nothing we can do about that. But it's a great reskin that's been done on Creators Club. Again, some magnificent stuff on there as well. Again, let me know if it's too loud. I'm hoping that's about right. I wasn't actually looking, I saw a lovely looking scenario on Creators Club with a 395 that was masquerading as a 397 on a Preston to Carlisle Transpennine run, and I thought that looks perfect, so I'm going to do that one. But it doesn't work, sadly. I couldn't quite get the reskins available that it mentioned, and then when I loaded it up it brought me under 150 on the outskirts of the Cumbrian coastline, so I don't think it's quite right. Right, so we want the Creators Club. So subscriptions, so we want scenarios, and then the one we're doing is this one, Great Western Express Modern. And I did quickly passed over who designed it, but it's a great little run, so thanks to the creator. Well, and I've said before, but I'd love to see the Great Western Express fully electrified. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, cheers. I know when May Staves was saying you did a run on the Great Western earlier on, didn't you? I don't know if that was with the HST. But yeah, this is the unit. You can see a Elizabeth line train lurking in the background as well. We've got a Heathrow Express service leaving us too. That's a reskinned 377, I think. I must have a dabble and try and create something in Creators Club with these scenarios. Actually, we want normal, don't we?
TPWS and AWS operational.
Yeah, fantastic. And I love to drive the HST on Great Western Express as well. I mean, really, that's the only realistic one. A couple of Elizabeth Line trains leaving. And I mean, the reskins are brilliant. And again, you know, the cab seats are obvious. Sorry, the cab seats. The insides and the interiors are obviously London Overground, but I did see as well. I mean, I thought this looked pretty decent, and on Trenton Community, there's a great lot of work's gone in with a modern version of the Great Western Timetable, and I was going to have a look at it, but then I realised that there's no reskins on that, so you're basically driving LNER Azumas in LNER livery, and they've got the 710s in, but with Overground livery. So if they could use the reskins, then that would be half decent. And I noticed quite nicely as well. I mean, okay, it says Swindon there, but I think once the service gets going, because we're due away, I think it's 12:06 or something. So when the doors properly open and the service schedule starts, I think it'll change correctly then, and it'll say that Reading is the next stop. It does notice we're at London Paddington, which, bear in mind, this is the LNER Zoomer effectively, then that's pretty decent. Yeah, I think so. And you know, I mean, it looks good, the remaster that they've done. It's always frustrated me that they brought it out at the time when the real route was in the process of being electrified, and to me it was like, what a silly idea to build the route in its partly electrified state, because they could immediately have future-proofed it and got it up to something that would last for years. So doing only part of the electrification just seemed madness to me, and it would make it a lot more playable. And I mean, I don't understand all this thing about, I think there's something about, is it baking or something like that, but there's something you can't do. It's a struggle to kind of edit existing routes because I think they've already been baked. Is that right? But you know, somebody to go in and put the electrification in, you know, easy for me to say, of course, would be absolutely splendid. Actually, whilst we're here as well, always do this. Well, I mean, for all the fact that it's one of the oldest, well, it's the oldest British train sim world, isn't it? But it still definitely feels like Paddington. And it was a bit of a cheat, this idea, but at least they've made it look full. But of course, everybody is absolutely motion still. You've got a few people walking about inside. You're missing the concourse and the bit for the tube and everything. This is kind of the way out. I noticed as well they didn't quite connect the way out to the road below. They obviously thought nobody would ever venture this far. But you kind of look at that view and it's pretty good. forgot what platform Brunel is on. Right, let's get the doors locked and let's get us underway. There we are, speeding already. So it's a bit of a cheat. I mean, it's a lovely scenario. It's a bit of a cheat because obviously once we get past Airport Junction, then I did try it out earlier on. I wondered if we could just put it into diesel mode, but sadly it doesn't work. You have to kind of keep it in electric to keep the power going. Thankfully the pantograph's at the back, so it's not too obvious. I know with the 5-circle one there's a bit of a mod done so that you could actually ride the 5-circle line in diesel mode and operate with a proper diesel engine on it. That's tiny bit of the line towards Hammersmith branching off to the left. What's that called? Westbourne Park, isn't it? But I mean, although it's a very old route by Trains and World standards, it was still done nicely. They kind of pushed the boat out a little bit with the first one. I mean, it was a massive shame that we never got any of the branch lines. You know, you think like, I think Windsor, not a massive effort to have put that in. It's only a shortish stretch, but it would have been good to have just had some of the branches in, and it would have give it that extra flexibility. Right, now we can get a bit of speed up. So all told, it might end up being one of the shorter streams tonight actually. There's 5 runs, but I suppose the 3 Train Sim Classic ones were slightly on the shorter side. And I think this is with the prior, I mean the remaster is going to bring us the Todd, whatever it's called, this Todd thing, isn't it, with the landscaping and the kind of the weather effects as well. I find myself wondering a time or two whether actually the weather effects on the old version of Train Sim World, not totally convinced whether they're actually better, the current ones, than the older ones. Right, now we can get up to 125. I mean, there's some graffiti there, so there must be some mud I've put in at some point. Excuse me. That's Ealing Broadway. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, Todd 4, yeah. Mind you, thinking about it, Todd 4's kind of the thing instead of the dem, isn't it? So it's bringing in the landscape. I think the whole weather, excuse me, the weather thing, and that's something completely different, isn't it? I probably won't remember to see it, but there's a single arch span bridge which goes over the Thames. I think it's at Maidenhead, and when Brunel built it and put it in, there was a lot of naysayers about it at the time, and I think basically they said it'll fall down, it'll never last. But here we are, over 150 years later, and it's still there, standing proud today. I can't remember if the model of Brunel is actually on the game or not. That's something that, if it isn't there at the moment, I'd certainly love to see in the remaster. Because he's got a nice little prominent position. I love how he's kind of like sitting down, looking out over the station, contemplating on what it's like now. But still lots that he put in place originally. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I've yet to try actually this weather mod thing off Train Sim Community, and I think they've actually put it in. I don't know how far you can do it back, but you put in historic weather as well. I think that's quite a good idea. But the problem with dynamic weather, and I never use it unless I've forgotten, is generally, even if you start off in June, July, August, you start off in the most sunny conditions imaginable, and what happens within 15-20 minutes, absolutely chucking it down with rain, and it's a thunderstorm, and it's just not anywhere near right. I think it's another one of those little DTG things really, where, you know, the idea is there, but they just haven't quite got the right amount of people to implement it completely. But yeah, I mean, it's bits like here. You've got the gantries, but I mean, obviously it was right at the time. You know, they've gone by the cab view videos that were in place at the time when it was built. But what on earth's the point in selecting that moment in time and leaving it at that? They could have electrified the whole run, because you know they've already got this IET in place. And okay, I'm sure they'll say, well, actually the Great Western Railway one's a bit different, but it could have been done. Yes. Yeah. So we kind of got to pretend that the wires are up, but that we'll ignore the fact that they aren't. Well, we're kind of neither one thing nor the other, because it won't let us do it in diesel mode, sadly. I think this is with the sound mod as well, so you certainly get the extra clump over the points. I've kind of cut away before you see that pantograph raised. I mean, the stupid thing is, there's that slough. I don't know whether we've passed it yet, but you've got a section where the wires are actually connected for a few hundred yards, and again, it's just showing that work in progress at the time. I mean, I don't think they've got the license with GWR anymore, have they? So when they're doing this remaster, we're getting kind of first Great Western liveries, but without the labelling on the side of the HSTs. I mean, I'm not 100% sure that it's coming out for free, but I think it is. You know, if you own the GWE already. I mean, the other massive thing is, it's kind of too short, and you get to Reading and you feel as though, right, where's the next stage of the journey? I mean, at least the old Train Sim Classic thing went to Oxford. But I do like the Elizabeth Line re-livery. Okay, obviously, I don't think it's identical to a 345, is it? But it looks the part. Yeah, this is the bit with the, well, there's a little bit there with some wires connected. Right, bits and pieces. But you kind of think, I mean, I thought at the time, it's like, why not future-proof it? Yeah, that's excellent, excellent, and I don't, goodness knows when it's going to be released. It feels as though they've been talking about it since Train Sim World 5 was first released, and you almost felt then when you saw the screenshots of it that it was basically more or less finished. Yeah, just to show, like, yeah, it's still showing us that we're going to Reading, which I have to say, bearing in mind this is a unit that was built for LNER, I think that is pretty amazing, really. And I mean, for all me moaning about the Great Western Express route, I shall still really look forward to the remaster as well, because it will breathe a new bit of life into it. And I think we've got that. They're going to use if you own the Island line, you're going to get the 484 in use on tube journeys between Paddington and whatever it's called. Is it Westbourne Court, is it? Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. There's been a kind of a dearth of silence, really. I mean, we had all this hype and build up, this marketing thing, these announcements over Christmas, most of which we already knew. But it's been pretty quiet since, and hopefully the next roadmap will be a great deal more instructive. Just thought, did I switch the AWS actually off? I did, you know. That's better.
TPWS and AWS operational.
Right, we've both got them on normal and normal. That's more like it now. Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly hoping for a bit more news on the Alan Thompson route, as to when that comes out, when we get the next roadmap, and a bit more news on this Valley route, really. I mean, you kind of get the impression that's nowhere near finished, because we've only got like the early outlines of the trains and no route, and same with the Netherlands route as well. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. You kind of feel as though that's going to be a bit of a priority thing. And it's kind of it's only a small little add-on pack for the West Somerset Railway. And I suppose it'll gain, I'm not massively against it, because it'll gain, it's good to cover things for all ages, but I can't say that I can't wait for the Thomas thing to come out. I mean, I think Christopher was asking about if I'm going to buy it or not, and I don't know. I'm not paying mega expensive money for it, that's for sure. I mean, I think there is a West Cornwall local modern timetable as well, so you could run out this GWR IET on that route as well.
TPWS and AWS operational.
Yeah, I think I knocked that into the wrong setting there, didn't I? No, I agree with you. I think that's a very sensible strategy. I mean, I'm kind of quite like the look of this Austrian thing that's coming out, but I mean, even the German stuff. I mean, there's some great routes, but I've not really even run the ones I've got, so I'm not kind of massively looking to buy those at the moment. I mean, for nostalgia reasons, I quite like, and again, I've not bought it, but I quite like the idea of the Northeast Corridor, just because of the old Microsoft Train Simulator route that we had. Yep, that's right. Yeah, so that's on the new timetable. So the Forks one, and yeah, Watford Junction to London Euston. So that'll be good. It's a while since I've done it as well. It'll be the last part of the stream. I'm hoping it's going to be a peak time-ish one. I was looking on their awesome train sim runs, and I think it was suggested 2C10, but I couldn't see it listed on the Forks timetable, so I've gone for the 2C11. But yeah, it's still nice to have a run on the Great Western Express. And again, great efforts on the part of the scenario creator for fabulous run. There's some lovely scenarios on Creators Club using kind of different stock and different ideas, and okay, you can take stuff out on free roam, but it's good to see passing traffic and everything done in the right style. And I've kind of yet to... One thing it doesn't do, by the way, is end this scenario. I've noticed this earlier on when I gave it a quick try. You could wait all day, it seems like, and it doesn't unlock the door. So, but anyway, good. I enjoyed that. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, that's exactly the thing. As I say, the awesome train sim people were talking about 2C11, but whether that's on the regular timetable, I don't know. I haven't checked. I prefer to do it with Forks' timetable, because whenever I've done it with the other one now, I seem to get like things like missing stock and all that sort of missing carriages and all sorts. And nobody can complain about a run on the West Coast Main Line in any sense of the word, can they? I still enjoy it, whichever train I'm driving on it. Alright, fantastic. Yes, I think it's 7103, isn't it? As I recall. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna. It makes no difference really, does it? I'm gonna change to June just for the hell of it, so it looks a bit nicer on stream. Well, I'll be blowed at C2C10 now. Right, okay. Well, we said 2C11 anyway, so it must be the 7102, isn't it? Hang on then. Yep, fantastic. Yeah, I'll try and remember to leave the score up at the end so we can make the comparison, which is absolutely splendid. So master key in, cursor into forward. Be great if they could fix that, wouldn't it? So as it says DC, I wonder if that will ever be sorted. I always find with those buttons that I have to do it via this thing for it to work properly. That's it.
TPWS and AWS operational.
There we go. I love how as well, if you don't shut that panel, you get a little bit of rattling. So we're due off at 8 o'clock precisely. Never quite know whether I'm on the stream or not, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny when you, I don't know, I suppose it's just the because it's such a bright day, but the cab lights don't seem to make a massive amount of difference. Right, so away we go. Where are we? I think we're in forward mode up. Crikey, that's not a very good start, is it? Hang on. Well, locked. We are in forward. Actually, not really. So the cab or passenger doors are open or unlocked. We've locked them, haven't we? I've got them open on the other side, have I? Oh, I've still got them open, that's why. Ah. Ah, excellent, yeah. Yeah. Right, okay. Well, that's AWS is forced to penalty rate reset. Have we got me well, this is embarrassing. I've not even moved off yet. What am I doing wrong? Shoes are down. Yeah, we're on DC. AWS normal. TWS normal. Alright, so locked. Have I got the door open in my cab? No. Yeah, thanks. I think I might have to restart. I don't know what's gone on there. Traction lock not release. I've switched it on. Cab's on forward. AWS reset. Right, I'm going to reset it. That's a brilliant start from me. Yeah, well they are, yeah. I've locked it, yeah. I've never had that problem before. I've driven this unit a million times, but never mind. We will get there. Now then, I'm just... Oh, anyway. That's the key in. I don't recall it saying AWS and that message coming up.
TPWS
Yeah.
and AWS operational.
Yeah, you're going to be way ahead of me, that's for sure. Yeah, you get that lovely orange tint, don't you, when it's when you have the early morning sunrise, which I have to say is absolutely lovely. So here we go. Yeah, no idea what the problem was that first time. Yeah, yeah. You get. I think it's fair to say you're going to beat me to Euston. That's quite certain. We got another. I just love though this full timetable, and there, you know, you've got the 7:10 coming into the platforms at Watford Junction. You've got the Pendolino racing by. It's just so busy. Right, now we can go up to 35. It would, and I've probably said this umpteen times before, but I would love as well there to be like random timetables where, you know, you got a varying chance of other services being slightly late, because you could then do exactly the same run and you wouldn't always get the same reaction every time. I mean, the only way of kind of doing it is to force by running your own service a bit late. I mean, perhaps not so much on something like this DC lines route where, you know, essentially you're going to be essentially, I should imagine there aren't too many late running ones, apart from a little bit of interference with the Bakerloo line sometimes, but I'm guessing these services get priority. I mean, maybe it's just technically impossible, I don't know, but wouldn't it be good if you could get somebody from the Trainsim community website who could do such a thing? I'm trying to remember what that chap said on there was when they first did the preview, I think on the YouTube comments there was a real 710 driver who kind of told you exactly how to drive it, and I think he sort of said, you know, you use probably about 30% for the first few miles an hour, and then you can whack it into full power. But it's always been something that really pleased me, the fact that we've got this full DC line service in, and okay, it's taken a while before we got the full service in, and thanks to Forks for this amazing timetable, but immediately it's kind of miles better than for instance, the Dovetail Games West Coast Main Line for Trainsim Classic. I don't think they even included a service in either direction on that, but I probably did a run on the full run on that maybe once, but immediately this was kind of like massively more exciting. Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's just incredible, really. And it's basically, it just feels like the West Coast Main Line should be. Probably always going to be a couple of stations behind you, I reckon, all the way into Euston. I certainly won't be able to catch you up. And I think this is a great time of the day as well, this kind of rush hour feeling. We start speeding now to once oh wow, yeah, no, that will be excellent, won't it? Yeah, I'd kind of forgotten about that, and I think they were hoping to add in some rail tour stuff as well, which would be kind of good. But yeah, I mean, a lot more freight will be exciting as well. I mean, they've actually got a couple of freight runs as well in the timetable with the 87, haven't they? Which I've yet to try, but that's quite a fun prospect as well. I'm coming into Carpenter's Park. Yeah, I keep forgetting that actually. I mean, you know, I keep thinking of it as the Forks timetable, but it was kind of a collaboration, wasn't it, between there's 3 or 4 of them, wasn't it? Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I definitely must. I must do a bit more freight. I mean, I saw quite a nice freight run with the 92 as well on Train Sim Classic with Stratford to Ipswich, which I hope that I must kind of do a little bit of a trial of it perhaps before I do it on the stream, because I don't want to kind of find we're under restricted signals all the way. It's good if you get a few restricted signals, but maybe not all the time. Looking forward to that 86 incidentally coming out for TSW5 as well, because again, even if you do it in free run mode, we can do, I'm sure somebody will do a Freightliner rendition of the 86, and we can have one of those double-headed freight runs. You know, it's kind of only a few years back, isn't it? I've only set it to kind of June because I forgot to hoop me on. I did see them, but just kind of trying to get away. There's this gloomy weather, but it was actually a beautiful day here in Staffordshire. Took the dog for a walk earlier on, and it almost felt like a spring day, which was absolutely marvellous. Felt quite warm, and so it's lovely to think we've got nicer weather ahead of us. Okay, I know we're not over the cold weather just yet. probably coming into this platform, well, I'd say a bit hot, but I mean, the brakes are pretty damn sharp on this thing, aren't they? Ah, right, okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't think we did have frosty. We had a couple of frosty days earlier in the week, and they weren't kind of expected. So there's one thing I always find aggravating. You get up to go to work, and when you sometimes when you're expecting the frost, you allow yourself 5 or 10 minutes more, but when you're not quite expecting it, it's just so annoying. You think, oh, it's frosty. But not so bad sometimes with frost when it's a Sunday, if you're not going to go anywhere anyway. But I think anybody who kind of says to me, well, what's the best route for Train Sim World 5? And it's got to be this one. Now we've got this timetable in. I mean, it's just, I think it's a fascinating section of the line as well. Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. But hopefully such times will be gone in the not too distant future over the next few weeks. But I can't get enough of this line. I mean, it's kind of what made me really wanted to start doing the live streaming when this came out. And I think all of it's exciting, you know, doing these 710 rides, doing the 350 rides, doing the Pendolino, doing the freights. It's just something to keep you interested all the time. And I think I can't remember who was saying earlier, but if we could have the 769, it'd be nice as well. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I suppose we've just got to wait patiently, see what comes out, what the next steps are going to be. So I think if I do this full run for London Euston to Glasgow Central, then I think the plan's going to be to start off with Train Sim World, and we'll take it as far as Milton Keynes. So I've kind of got to find one that stops at Milton Keynes, or kind of invent a extra stop at Milton Keynes Central so that it makes some sort of sense. I think the quickest ones are about 4.5 hours, aren't they? Something like that. So we're shortly about to get the Bakerloo line stuff in as well. There's one in the turnback sidings. Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? And you can't help thinking that Alan Thompson would be right up for doing the Great Eastern Main Line, because that's his patch, isn't it, East Anglia? So, and you kind of feel as though they would put a lot of effort into getting it right as well. Could see then if I have as much trouble driving it on Train Sim World 5 as I do on Train Sim Classic. But I mean, I must say I do love the Gemma upgrade that they've done ATS for Train Sim Classic. I think they've done a terrific job. I mean, whether we'll ever get the next stage and a kind of a new version of Ipswich to Norwich, I don't know. I think they are working on the next stage of it, and the idea is to put in a new version of Liverpool Street as well, because I think the current one, if you mess about too much outside the cab, you'll crash the game within about 10 seconds. Yeah, definitely 100%. It is of that calibre and standard, and because it was made by whatever his name is, GU, isn't it? Gutenbarn or whatever he calls himself. So it's done to a very high standard. The sounds are excellent as well, and you know, it's kind of been done in collaboration with a chap who drives the Real Flirt, so it's been done to a tremendous standard, and I think it would be a great deal of fun as well. And if we could get you know, some adventurers in different liveries done, then you know, it would be nice to have operating out of in and around Liverpool Street. I mean, in a way, I think there was kind of a period where the Elizabeth Line trains did actually go right into... Oh, the weather's gone gloomy. I must have set... Because I reset it, it's gone into dynamic weather, hasn't it? We're going to get rain before we get to Euston. Oh, no, we're all right. No, that was just a strange little angle there. I thought it was gone really gloomy. No, we're okay. Yeah, I'm sure we had a period, point I was getting at, where the Elizabeth Line trains were going right, the Sheffield ones were going right into Liverpool Street, and we had the Flirts just about, I think. So I'd love to have that combination. But I think the Great Eastern Main Line would be fantastic. I mean, any era really, and you know, I'd be happy. I think we've said before, haven't we? But you know, a Class 90 version of it. I mean, I'd love to see some of the old first gen EMUs as well, because the one thing we've yet to have in the game at all is a first gen AC EMU. So a 305, a 302 or a 312, anything like that would be right up my street. There's a lot of potential with the Great Eastern Main Line. I mean, again, rather like the West Coast Main Line, it's, you know, a fantastic route for freight as well. Wow, that's some way of repairing a signal, isn't it? But, I loved how he was crouching down as we left the station, but then he got back up again. Yeah, brilliant that. I thought, what's going on with that signal? And I just saw this character in the corner of my eye. Yeah. I mean, it just brings everything to life, doesn't it? It really does. Still not quite getting those markers. I mean, you're supposed to be able to see it out of the corner, aren't you? The quarter light there. Well, alright. Yeah, we'll have that. Trying not to be too anxious, because as I kind of go for accelerate, I almost immediately go to bomb it up to 100%, but of course it takes a few seconds for it to activate, which is excellent. And there's a Vero, or whatever they call them. But I mean, you think back to when the Bakerloo line first came out, and you know, we kind of got the wrong catenary because they put the Great Western Express catenary in, and there was absolutely zero traffic on the main lines. What a transformation. Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is, I mean, in real life, if you're a real driver, it's very easy to tilt your head and kind of do that at the same time, but I think to kind of do it on the game is not quite as straightforward, shall we say. mean, it's even harder with the Met line with the with Train Sim Classic, because you've of course you have those monitors that don't activate on your screen properly on Train Sim Classic with the S7. I can't even see that there. No, that's it. Cracky, that was me worst. Yeah, I think the problem is sometimes they're just at different heights as well. They're in different positions, and you can't always see them coming into the platform. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. Right, so we have got a single yellow, so we'll be mindful of that. Let's change to green. But clearly we do have a Bakerloo line train in front of us. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love that wheel flange sound. Well, not quite right, mate. We've got Amaze Taze, who's actually driving the same train as me at the moment. So we are going to take it into London Euston. I mean, the thing is, you were watching it anyway. So welcome to the stream, by the way. And I always say with these things, and in any case, it's possible to watch this back. It doesn't have to be live, so it's nice to finish off the run and take it into the station, I think. I always love this bit as well. You've got Wembley there, and you've got that imposing office block, which is so much a part of the real world, and then the North Circular as well, which actually looks quite realistic and quite busy. So Willesden is next. Yeah, I love that view, looking down there. I mean, that is pure London, pure Wembley. So what have we got coming into the platform? Sometimes you can't see from a distance whether it's well, yeah, it's another 710, isn't it? Isn't it racing through on the main line as well? It's knowing where those markers are as well at the end of the platforms, because I say that they're like differing heights. Sometimes you get them like there, it's quite high up. Sometimes they're fairly low down. So it's knowing that. That takes some learning, I think.
Smoking is not permitted on any part of the station.
So Willesden Junction is next. Not a very good view, was it? We'll get a view of it there coming through the bridge. Far off from Willesden Junction, so it's kind of here. If we were operating with the new run to Stratford, we'll be going on that line on the left. We've overshot the marker a bit that time. Slightly ahead of schedule and the timetable. So I reckon you're about 2 stops ahead of me, I would say. You've got Kensal Green. So is it? I'm right to say it's Queen's Park after Kensal Green. Again, loving the flange sounds. All right, fantastic. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it's kind of things like that I'm looking forward to, and to be able to do those freight runs. And again, you know, going back to the kind of the Great Eastern Main Line again, but if you kind of got that in, then you really would have something to be interested in, because you could do, you know, imagine Ipswich to Liverpool Street, you effectively then would be able to do Ipswich to Milton Keynes.
Unattended on the station. Luggage left unattended may be removed without warning or destroyed or damaged by the security service.
Miles off the marker that time. I'd love it if oh, the thoughts come from my mind now. Can't think of what I was going to say then. Yeah, I think stuff like that, yeah, would be good. And like I say, you could probably do like rail tour runs as well. You know, I saw a pretty decent example. I mean, we haven't really explored the idea, the fact that, you know, the connections on this thing are pretty good, with the connected coupling up, and that's quite interesting. So saw a decent stream the other night where I think it was that Dad Rail who he was kind of doing a rail tour, and he took his 87 into the platforms at Watford Junction, at London Euston, and coupled up. But I mean, it's always been, I mean, for my money, it's always been something that, you know, it's like an obvious point. It's like, yeah, do all these routes by all means. It's great to have variety. It's great to have different parts of the country covered. I mean, it's superb. But on the other hand, kind of don't forget what you've created already, and don't just do isolated bits of a route. You know, it's not been lovely to have different sections added. There's nothing wrong in carrying on a project that you've started. Right, well, I can see the marker there, so surely that should be fairly easy. Yeah, that'll do. Right about right, I think. That's quite a good view, isn't it? And also, I mean, this like, I mean, this route hopping feature is, you know, a great idea, but what you kind of want to be able to do is to almost route hop from the cab, don't you, so that you don't lose the immersion. And you think of that idea of doing the freight service at, you know, kind of terminating at a signal on the bank, say at Willesden, just after Willesden Junction, and you don't want to be leaving the cab to kind of go to some random location for do the route hopping. You want it to be a bit more intuitive than that, really. Hello again, Connor. Well, we're not far off from Journey's End, and we've just got a couple of stops left now. I mean, presumably, I mean, I haven't really looked at the figures, but oh, I'm going way past my marker there. Oh, we just had one of them going the opposite way. But it still feels as though they just haven't quite got enough people to pull it off, and I don't know whether it's kind of got slightly worse in that respect since the French merger. I don't know. But it's kind of like correct the bugs that you've started, work on new things. I mean, it's silly little things as well. I mean, I presume it's an issue with the Unreal Engine, but all this glitching when you select the outside view, I mean, that's something that would love to see fixed massively, because it can be highly irritating. The passenger movement, I'm sure that DTG could sort that out and get it looking a lot better, a lot less clunky. And it's probably not top priority, but one day I'd love to see passengers actually walk onto the train and actually walk to the seat, rather than all this disappearing and then reappearing again in the seats. But I'm kind of thinking with sometimes, from my way of thinking anyway, with dovetail games, you probably end up getting a passenger joining you in your seat. Yeah, definitely right. Definitely right. And even with that, and clearly it's kind of a move on from Tram Sim, which got its good points about it. I quite liked it. I love the detail, but I mean, I'd love to see a modern, realistic tram network. I mean, at the moment they've kind of built a fictional German city, which it looks pretty decent, but I'd love to see a proper, give me eye teeth to have a representation of either the Manchester tram network or Croydon or Blackpool. Any of those would be absolutely immense. But yeah, I mean, they do these roadmap streams, but I seem to get, I mean, I don't know, perhaps the next one will be a bit more giving in information, but it's kind of like you're not totally sure where the direction of travel is, and that's the whole point, surely, of the roadmap. I reckon you must be coming into Euston by now. You're going the opposite way to us, Connor. Or as ever, we'll find out, I guess. Yeah, so you'll certainly know your score way before me. Sometimes, I mean, the thing about this scoring, hello there, Clabium Gamer. Welcome to the stream. This is right at the end though, so if you, this is our last run, and we're coming into the platform shortly, so the stream will be ending very shortly, but if you want to play it back, of course, it'll all be available to you. Thank you for joining us, and if you've not done it before, then please like and subscribe. And a good time to kind of mention as we come towards London Euston and we're not too far off the end of the stream, thanks again to all the lovely people that have watched tonight, and much appreciated the company as ever in the chat. It's always been good to listen to, and it's very much appreciated. Thanks for the new subscribers, the old subscribers, and again, keep on subscribing and we'll hopefully keep on growing the channel together. But again, I've enjoyed the runs. Perhaps the 92 runs were a bit on the slowish side. It got us off to a little bit of a slow start, but it's nice to have a bit of variety. We're heading down Camden Bank, or we'll be shortly towards Euston. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, as ever, enjoyed it. And I'll try and get a midweek video up. Hopefully, time allows. Most likely, it's going to be carrying on with that Friday charter, but in Train Sim Classic next time. Yeah, I think I'd be the same. Just put me frames per second up. This is indeed the train to Euston. I love it how they actually say on the announcements, they don't say this is the train to London Euston, it's this is the train to Euston. The next stop will be Euston. And I think as well on this stream it slightly slows the game as well. I'm getting 14 actually, and I don't get there on any other route. But I think it is affected by the stream. It wouldn't be quite this bad if I wasn't streaming. Through the platforms a bit cautiously, to be honest. I mean, it's 25 mile an hour the speed limit, so we're going to be a bit late. Crikey, Even got down to 8 frames per second actually inside the building. I mean, I think this is probably one of the worst services to do in a sense, because of the fact that it really is peak time. Oh, I was going too fast. I forgot about that. You're supposed to slow down, aren't you? But alright, well, thanks for letting me know. We'll have a look in a second. I got a penalty break because I forgot to slow down. That's the first time I've done that at Euston. So, where are we then? So, 12370. I'm sure you've got to beat me. Oh, actually, no, it's not even gonna. I was thinking I could open me. Well, I've made a right rubbish end to this, haven't I? Well, I've definitely shut me doors there. AWS, that's supposed to penalty break. Reset. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, got resetted, haven't we? Okay. Yeah, that's the first time I've been caught out by Euston. I kind of forgot you have to get down to a few mile an hour, don't you? Right, that'll do us. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a good run. Yeah, that's the first time ever that I've ever been done at Euston, because I remember Matt Pendleton saying on one of the streams about making sure you slow down enough, and he says I've been caught out by it, but I've never had a problem with that. I think I'm going to make an excuse about the frame rates, and because it was so kind of low that. I kind of didn't quite get the hang of it, but anyway. I mean, the daft thing is, I was probably doing about a couple of mile an hour over. But anyway. So you absolutely have to have a better score than me. That is absolutely certain. I think if there wasn't, there'd be a steward's inquiry. Exactly. Well, there you go. I mean, that just tells you, doesn't it? This scoring system is, well, I mean, how on earth could I have beat you? I mean, it does give you a breakdown on the scores, but I don't know. Surely that end bit was rubbish. So it didn't seem to take any notice of that whatsoever. Well, as far as I'm concerned, you were the winner there, because that was if I'd glided into Euston fairly and squarely, then I'd have been happy with the end, but I didn't. So as far as I'm concerned, you definitely did better than me. Anyway, thank you very much. Thanks as ever for watching and for the company and the chats, and the same for everybody that's watched again. And just say one last time, please like and subscribe. Click the notification button if you haven't done so before, anybody that's watched tonight. And I'll try and get the midweek streams up as much as possible, so with the notification you'll get a notice of when that's coming out. But the Sunday stream, as ever, is usually live at 5 o'clock. So we'll be back again next Sunday. And thank you very much again. And from Power Flower Trains and Planes, it's good night. Bye.